Hey there, welcome to Contracts and Chaos. My name's Alyssa.
And I'm Brenna, and we're here to tell you that you are not alone in the mayhem of this real estate industry.
We're keeping it real and sharing our stories, strategies, and successes in today's real estate world.
So come join us every Tuesday while we talk contracts and chaos.
Okay, so we're not going to follow the outline I built then?
No, because it's not what you do, and it's not what I do. So
Right? Well, but it is a structure.
It is a structure.
So.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're already using the 5-star prospect format that we've talked about in a previous episode, like I can understand how easy it is to implement like 5-star follow-up or
Right.
5-star past client kind of thing. It's not how and maybe it should be, but
Right.
It's not, right? And for me, like rating past clients is more, I mean, and you just said it too. Like, do you want to work with those people again? You said it in different words.
Right.
But also, we've talked about this a bazillion times. We build a business on relationships. Like we're not churning and burning like down through a funnel. And once you close that deal, you'll never speak to them again.
Right.
The idea is we work in our local area enough that we're consistently in people's faces and they're like, oh, I used Brenna. She was great. Let me get you connected to Brenna. Or on those Facebook pages where they're like, oh, looking for a realtor. And then you've got 6 or 8 moms that are like, you should call Brenna. That's the idea. And I think with rating past clients, for me personally, it's about nurturing those relationships and how that's done. And honestly, some of my people on my nurture list, on my past client list, aren't actually past clients.
Well, and some of my people I wouldn't want to nurture or don't really put an effort into come back anyway. So today, guys, we kind of just jumped into this because we were mid-conversation, so we hit record. We are talking about how we rank past clients and how, not necessarily how we nurture them, but how we rank them for what type of nurturing they're going to get. Because let's be honest, there are clients, and I think I mentioned this on the last call. I know I told you about it, but there are clients we'd never want to work with again. I've had the psycho one that for my birthday party, my mom booked the Airbnb across the street from his property. Thank God he doesn't own it anymore, but that was fun.
I can't believe she did that.
Of all the Airbnbs in the world. Hi, Mom. Sorry about that.
Right.
But he does not get nurtured. If I had a formal ranking system, he would be a 0-star. Do not want to visit that again. Like, send the health department, close that restaurant down. Absolutely not. But there are clients who are 5 stars or however you want to rank it. I do think Sharon's system, if for lead ranking, you could easily convert that into past clients very easily. But Brenna, how do you rank yours? You said you use more like an ABCD system.
I do, and I do this because this is something that I've had sort of in implementation before I came to Real, before I had ever heard of a 5-star prospect. So and to me, like you grade them, right? You rate them, which is A+, A, B, C, D, F. F is like, don't ever call them again. Right. These are the people that you didn't ask for a review. These are the people, whatever. And in that, I was just saying also, like, I have people on there that aren't past clients, but I follow up and nurture them like they are because they are the people in my community that are my go-getters, that are my support system. Right. And whether or not I've actually had the opportunity to help them buy or sell their house yet, they are still out there supporting me in everything that I do in my business, and I think that they get to be in that in that list at that point.
Yeah, like they're the people who are always tagging you in the Facebook groups, like, oh, you've got to talk to them, or the people who are talking you up at different events. So then you suddenly get a random phone call from someone who's like, hey, so and so told me to call you, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay. Or I mean, technically, it would be my mom. My mom would be a 5-star or an A, that she's always resharing my stuff. She's always telling people, like your biggest cheerleader should be in that A, that 5-star. You should be nurturing them, and not necessarily in the same way you would leads or clients, but making sure you're still engaged. You get invited to that baby shower, you go to that baby shower. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. Or someone in their family passes, at a minimum, you're sending the sympathy card. Because it's not even just a strategic, slimy, like, oh, they are someone who is important, whether or not you're doing business with them. So you should just be a good person in general.
Yeah, absolutely. And this goes into, and we've had episodes on like our follow-up system and like different things that we do, that sort of thing. But like for me, like I'm just pulling up how I rank them. My A+ are people that have recently done business, right? Are in the immediate pipeline, and those people that are constantly shouting me out on Facebook. There's not a lot of A+ on my list. Like, we're not talking like that there's 50 people that are A+, but these are the people that you are sending a crumble cookie box to. These are the people that you get a Starbucks card. Like, these are the people that you love on hardcore because they love on you hardcore.
Right.
And this is about building that relationship, that trust, that trust factor. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then A's are more recent. Like, so for me, I've been in the business for 5 years. Those people that are still local. When I first started, still, I'm pretty listing heavy. And a lot of those listings aren't selling and then buying 15 miles away. They're selling and moving to Florida. Right. They're selling and moving to South Carolina. Like, they're not in my immediate local spot, right? So A's are the more recent clients that are still here locally, that maybe they just got married. Maybe they're having a kid. Like, their chances of doing another piece of business are pretty good. Right. And I'm going to see them because they're here, right? And I think that that's a good way to break that up too. You work with a lot of buyers though. So how?
Yeah, my last year and a half have been more I started seller heavy and then switched. I base mine on a little bit of what you do, like how likely are they to transact again? How are they my biggest cheerleader? Like, are they cheering me on in different groups, opening me up to different opportunities? But I want a big personality factor. Like, if you were a bitch to work with,
you get an F.
Don't.
That's an F.
You don't necessarily get an F. And I think it's more of you and I worked a transaction together. Mm-hmm. And if that person came back, I would probably refer them. And they did come back. And then they decided not to do what they wanted to do or thought they wanted to do, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But knowing what it was like, I would probably refer that out. Mm-hmm. So I would still nurture them.
Up front. Go ahead.
I would still nurture them. Because if I'm looking at it from a financial standpoint and a business standpoint, that's still a transaction. That's still helping someone.
It is.
It just may not be someone I want to work with directly anymore. So even with listings, like if you have a lot of clients who've moved away, I would still be nurturing because they may not know someone in their new area and they know you're well connected. So they might come back. So that's a referral. So it all depends.
And I have to tell you, the last couple of years, some of the people that I've moved away, right? Mostly the elder generation. I still get texts and pictures and phone calls, and I adore that. They're all on my Christmas card list because I'm just that human. So those are people that I still follow up with just because I am the human that I am. Right. But this goes back to, and we've talked about this before, my first couple of years, and I think your first couple of years, we were just like, business, yes, I'll take it.
Right.
I'll take this. Right. I'll travel. I'll do this. Yes, 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 yes. And now I'm like, listen, you didn't listen to a goddamn thing I told you to do during this process. You almost got everybody sued. Like,
right.
No. Thank you.
Right.
No,
or the after. So I have a client, and I'm not saying I don't go above and beyond for my clients, but I have a client that closed a month ago. We sent her all the instructions for utilities. She did a distance closing. She got here 2.5 weeks after closing and couldn't figure out why she didn't have water. So I told her, I said, you need to go to the office right now. Oh, well, I can't. So she lived without water for a whole weekend and got mad at me. And I was like, no, we sent you all of these instructions. And she was like, well, you should have gone to the water office. No, I can't do that. And then told me, well, you're my eyes and my hands on the ground until I can move there. No, I'm not. Like, yes, I went to check after the carpet cleaners to make sure there was no damage, which she then told me, oh, they sent me pictures. It was fine. I've done another trip to go up because the movers were coming and she didn't have a security system. She wanted to make sure the house was still good before her stuff moved in. Okay, well, it's 40 minutes each way. And I'm not the person that's like, we closed, we're done. But we're done at some point. Like, my services are no longer, that's way above and beyond. So
Right.
I'm not saying I'm not going to nurture her because she may have family and stuff that wants to move here. But it might be a referral, especially if they're going to move closer to her. Like, I did this one as a favor, kind of. And it was an easy one because she knew what she wanted. But I do take stuff like that into consideration. Because, again, like, it may not even be, did you listen during the transaction? And she, like, again, she was a person, almost lost the deal 2 days before closing because she didn't UPS the check. Yep. She USPS'd it and it didn't show up for 4 days.
Oh, God.
And she got a check when she's supposed to have a wire.
I was going to say, I'm so surprised it showed up at all with USPS.
Girl, trust me. I finally sold a car this weekend and I had to send the money orders back to New York. And I was like, UPS, please and thank you. We're not messing.
I have to say, too, there's been transactions that, like, I'm like, that wasn't, like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. Like, you know, like, they were hard to work with. Maybe they thought, like, I was hard to work with. Like, again, in the earlier years when I didn't have, like, my systems and, like, my boundaries and, like, we did it. But I don't think that anyone was, like, woohoo, you know?
Right.
But then I've had those very same people send me their friends' family and be like, hey, so-and-so is, you know, looking to buy their first house. I'm like, oh, well, apparently it wasn't as bad as I thought. And I think that that's something that we need to take into consideration too, because we do a bunch of transactions on a yearly basis, on a monthly basis, whatever the case may be. And they don't. This was a one and done for a while transaction that, even though it was like, yeah, that wasn't my best, to them, you created an experience and did the job that they hired you to do. And that is still what was important to them, you know?
Or, like, even in the heat of the moment. Like, my first client, I remember her being very, very upset. Looking back, at the time, I thought she was mad at me. And now I look back and go, no, she was mad at the situation and taking it out on me. Because now she's reached out to be like, I think I might want to sell my house. I thought I'd never hear from her again. And I was like, oh, I really messed that. No. Like, I've nurtured her.
Sometimes those are the best ones. Because they realize, they take a minute after the fact to be like, listen, maybe I was the jerk in this situation.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So I think it's like we always, the theme for the show should be, it depends. I don't know.
Yeah,
it depends.
Really. Every transaction's different. Every person's different. I'll do my next. So B's are like friends, family, neighbors, like those kinds of people that would refer me.
Right.
That do refer me. Those are the people that are tagging me on Facebook that aren't necessarily like wow on it all the time, sending me stuff, but are ones that, like, they'll tag me. They'll be like, hey, you need to call Brenna. Those are good ones. C's are usually the people that, like what we just talked about. We had a transaction or we didn't. And, like, I think they might, but they haven't. And, like, maybe they need a little extra love on that.
Right.
But that's really it. And then, like, yeah, F's. Like,
F's are
we need to see some effort on that side before I put much effort in on this side.
Like, they'll stay on an email list.
Sure.
But we're not.
Well, because, again, and that's something, and that's that one that I was like, it wasn't really great. But then they are on my email list because that's something that's a soft, like, just a reminder. You know what I mean? Whether they open that email or click the links or do the things, like, that's something every Tuesday they're seeing something from me. And they're like, oh, there she is. That's my, homeowners to-do list for this month. Like, that's the local events.
Right. Or like you and I both use Reminder Media. They might be on that. It's a very
God,
low.
Reminder Media is an expensive.
I know
Like
it's going up,
I'm not
but
putting them on the Fs. No way.
I got to go through and clean out my Reminder Media list. But yeah, they're on an email campaign. They're probably not on much more because meh, if they do, they do. If they don't, they don't.
Mm-hmm.
And if they do, it might be a referral because I don't.
Yep.
Like
Well,
that sounds cold, but you have to. That's one of the luxuries of our business. We are able to pick and choose who we do and don't want to work with.
Yes, and that is a privilege, and that is something that I feel like more of us should utilize. There's so many that are just like me when I was year 1, year 2, that was just like, yes, I will work with your abusive cousin to buy this $10,000 piece of land that I'm going to make
Right.
$320 on, and that kind of thing. I will take that client. I will take that client. I will travel 4.5 hours. Gross. But now we've grown, we've learned and set boundaries and set standards in our business, and honestly that is what creates a better business experience. It allows us to create a better business experience for our clients because we're not running around chasing our tails with all of these tire kickers that are just like suddenly changing their mind and not wanting to buy a house. We're working with the people that are ready, willing, and not even willing, excited to work with us because of what we bring to the table.
Right.
That's how I feel about it.
Sorry, I just heard a crash, but it was just Mabel dropping a bone. Yeah, that's how I feel about it too. Like, if I'm not excited to hear from them again, then I don't know. I'm not gonna. They'll just be on an email or something like that, or something very low. They're not going to be the people on the Christmas card list or the pop by list. They
Right.
might get like one of the one-off holiday cards. Like I love sending St. Patrick's Day cards, like or things like that.
I
But
got
I'm
your
not.
St. Patrick's Day card like last week, which is so
Yay.
funny because St. Patrick's Day was so long
Right?
ago.
I
Speaking of
definitely.
USPS,
Yeah, I
I
definitely mailed
remember
those the
you.
week of St.
I
Patrick's Day. So
know, I know. You posted a picture about it. It was on your schedule and to do. I know when you mailed
right.
them, but
So you're like, we exchange our to-do lists every day,
we
and
sure
those.
did.
That's also why, I'm telling you, the post office in my town is horrible. I do not. I will literally drive the next town over because I don't trust the post office in Gastonia. Like they're
It's
horrible.
funny, but
Which is sad because
we're
one of
gonna
my
have
clients just retired from there, and I'm like, I'm sorry, Deb. I'm sorry. They're just
we're
awful.
just gonna have to remember any like cards that we want to get there within the next like 30 days. Like so, send your Christmas
Right?
cards
That's
on
literally
Thanksgiving.
a month ago.
I know. Well, that's what I mean. I was like, oh, this could be an Easter card. Nope, it's St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. No, it was
It's very funny.
definitely. Oy vey. Oy
Oh
vey.
wow. One thing I do want to say, just because like you did put it in our little notes, if you decide to utilize the 5-star client rating after the fact, like we did 5-star prospect, here is how I guess we would break that up. Obviously, if they check all 5 stars, like they were throughout the transaction and use the same rules, right? They were willing to engage, they were friendly and collaborative, clear on what they wanted, knew when they wanted it, wanted your help, and were easy to work with. Those are 5-star clients. That's a dream client. We love
Right.
that, right? Those are the people, those are my A pluses. Those are the ones that you're going to stay in touch with, send them updates, and we have different ways of asking for referrals, but my favorite way that is new to me that I've been implementing that seems just much less like, hey, who do you know that wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate is who can you introduce me to? Who needs an introduction? Like I work by introduction, not by referral. I'm not sure if that we've talked about that on a podcast yet or
I don't
not,
think
but
we
I
have.
love that. I love just like that framing. And that's what I've been doing with my lender partners recently too. Like, let me introduce you, not let me refer you to my lender partner. Let me introduce you to a lender partner. I think that just that wording makes a big difference. And then the rest of it, how would you break up the last 4 stars? Obviously, if they didn't have any stars.
Yeah, like I think 1 to 2 stars is kind of like that CD level. Like, are they worth re-engaging with? Like,
Mhm.
I would be asking that. Like, Were they a little difficult? Did they ghost you at some point in the transaction and make it hard to get things done? Were they the client that refused to do digital signatures but lived far away, so every time you needed to sign something, it took 2 weeks to get a document back? Like, that is not a client I would want to re-engage with.
Those are the ones too that I think that the effort has to be mimicked, so maybe they're on
Yes.
your list, but when they're reaching out, then we show some like
Right. Okay. If they reach out, then they might get put back on reminder media. Because if they're like, oh, in 2 years, okay, well, let me put you on reminder media. I'll bump
right, like
you up
that
a little bit.
Is it Diamond Rio song? I'll start walking your way
Right.
when you start walking mine. Yeah.
Can we make that the title of this episode? And then like a 0 star again is like, it literally says refer them somewhere else. Like if they were just a pain and they didn't listen, and I think you also have to, like, we're not just going to blindly refer. We're going to give that agent a heads up and be like, here's what I encountered. And I would be like, I think your personality type would work with them better because you're more tolerant, you're more patient. Like, talk that agent up.
And I was just going to say that
Don't
too.
just
because
throw them to the wolves, because if you do that, they're not going to want your referrals again.
Right, exactly. I think that there's something to be said about different people jive with different people, So
Right.
maybe that client wasn't your avatar, wasn't your best fit, but an agent who works like that, who maybe is a little bit more like rough around the edges or like tough love, like ABC, this is what you have to do, no ifs, ands, or buts, and that client would have worked better in that situation.
Right.
Set those clients up for success too, because that still leaves you in a good light with them at the end of the day, which is great.
Right. And we also we do the same thing with lenders. So why aren't we doing that with our referral partners?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know there are certain lenders I wouldn't send my clients to. No. Because I know they wouldn't get along. And it's the same thing with agents. So, but that's how I would categorize mine. I do, yeah. Were they a jerk? Were they not a jerk? I don't know. Like, were they easy to
Alyssa's
work
very
with?
like black and white. Were you nice?
Yeah.
Were you miserable?
If you were a dick.
Did I hate my life when I was working with
Right.
you? Like,
right.
that's
And
very
I mean,
easy. We should have just
honestly,
done that. Like a 30-second recording. Did I like you? Did you like me? Yes, no? Okay.
right?
Moving on.
It's like that little box, like when you were in like grade school. Do you like me? Yes or no? That's a country song too,
Check
I think.
yes or no. Yes.
That's
Oh
what
my
we
God.
should name this. Check yes or no.
Check yes or no. Are you staying in the pipeline or
Right.
not?
But because I mean, they could be a very nice person, but hard to handle. Like they may have made like unnecessarily hard. Like I had a past client text me a couple weeks ago, and at first it threw me for a loop. She was like, I'm going to list with a different agent. And I was like, you? And I was like, no, you know what? Good luck to Brittany, because I don't want you. Like, she wouldn't listen on pricing. She wouldn't listen on staging or make no, good luck. Because I know
At the
you're
end
a
of the
psycho.
day, and I think we could probably wrap up on this. Like, we are protecting our peace these days.
Yes.
Like, yes, you need money, but there's so much more that goes into a transaction building your business. And I think I've said before, like the year that I stopped fighting and chasing clients down was the year that I actually doubled my business, because I worked with the people who wanted to work with me and they were appreciative for what I did for them. And I do work hard for my people. But when you're constantly trying to negotiate and prove to somebody that you're worth it, or that you like knock down your commission, or you paid for their home inspection, or whatever it is, it's never enough, because you were never enough for them to begin with.
Right.
So
And
work
it's
with
not,
the
it's
people
not
that
you,
want to work
it's
with you.
them. That's the important thing to remember. It is not you. You are good at what you do. It is them. They, especially if they're not willing to listen to your guidance, then why are we bothering? Because you're the expert that they hired. So why? Nah, like good, like literally, good luck, Brittany. Good luck.
Okay, y'all, and we will see you next week. We just finished another episode of Contracts and Chaos, but believe me, the chaos does not stop here. So check out the show notes for our email address and where to follow us on socials, and we will see you next week.